the young Bernie, the fuck the Democratic Party Bernie. I shared these quotes before, and I remember when I first saw this these old quotes of Bernie Sanders, like K Hive and a lot of Democratic Party operatives, they posted it as a gotcha to Bernie. They was like, look, Bernie's not a real Democrat, see? And then we was like, yo, these quotes are actually based as hell. But unfortunately, this guy has been gone for quite some time. So if you guys want to know how far Bernie Sanders has fallen, these are old quotes from the young Bernie Sanders, which I still maintain that in the 70s, in the early 80s, Bernie was a real left anti-imperialist fighter. And when you ask a lot of people who know him, it was around the time, his time in the Congress in the 90s is where he really started to shift.
And Chris talks about that. Chris Hedges
Yeah.
talks about like he used to be we used to be friends, and he used to be a different politician.
He was arrested protesting for the civil rights movement, especially as a black leftist. I got no complaints. Like everything up to the 90s, Bernie seems like he was on fire. But then he became friends with members of Congress. He tasted that power. Then he started voting for the Yugoslavia War, expanding NATO, right? Now, this is his old quotes. And I'm going to read some because I know it may be hard for some of you guys to see these. This is 1985. I am not, nor I have ever been, a liberal Democrat. In 2014, this is before he ran, I am not a Democrat. I despise Democrats. Here in the 1990s. Why should we work within the Democratic Party if we don't agree with anything the Democratic Party says? I don't know, Bernie. That's a great question. That we said April 1990. In an op-ed in the New York Times in 1989, he said, the Democratic Party and Republican Party are Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They both adhere to the ideology of greed and vulgarity. Yeah, man. Old Bernie need to read some books of young Bernie. In April 1990, it would be hypocritical of me to run as a Democrat because of the things I have said about the party. I agree. Once again, old Bernie was on point. Interview with Vermont Affairs Magazine in 1986. The Democratic Party is ideologically bankrupt. They have no ideology. Their ideology is opportunism.
That is right now. That quote is so perfect for right now. We should re-quote Bernie on that one alone and compare him to whatever the hell he's saying right now, because that's young Bernie going after old Bernie on precisely that. Bankrupt, and he can't defend them even though he's trying. Just want to give this sign to the peeps because I can't type for some reason any comments. So hi to those I've been saying hi. Just wanted to give a shout out. But yeah, those are great receipts because you can see the Overton window shifting little by little, and now it reminds me of the I have to abstain and I'm gonna cry on the floor of Congress moment. It's like, oh come on, that's just bullshit.
This is why I introduced that question to you guys. Was I really that wrong a few years ago, or did these people just sell out? And I ask myself that question now. I'm like, man, did I really fall for it that bad? But when I look at those quotes, if I, as someone who just become again started, it makes sense that I would fall for that, right? Because those quotes sounds good. Then he sold out. I maintain that a lot of people had their head in the right place. It just Bernie and AOC fucking misled a lot of people. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this segment, in this video, that gives me no joy to say. That's why we got called out and we got to become more revolutionary discipline. So we've seen this man shift to the right over the years, and it's just sad. It's just really sad.
And it's not easy, Nick, to go through what you went through and a lot of us go through and realize that the system is broken and it's never going to work. That is not a happy conclusion to come to. It's not going to empower you. It's like, yay, everything I believed in is bullshit and the system is supposed to provide safety and security and a safety net for it doesn't give a shit about me. That is a very depressing realization to come to. And then if people like you reassess their situation and say, well, shit, if I have no one who's going to represent me, then I go out there and represent myself and people like me by whatever means necessary.